Amongst all of the recent volatility, amongst all of the prices going down, there has been a niche little market starting to develop itself over the past few months. On Heritage Auctions, we have been seeing high-grade Nintendo Power magazines sell for hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. And this all kind of came to a climax at the November signature auction, where a CGC 9.4 Nintendo Power issued number 1 sold for $24,000. So what the hell is going on with Nintendo Power magazines, and is it time for you to be buying them, or is it time to be selling them? Thank you to every single Patreon who helps support the channel, as well as the YouTube members. I can't do it without you guys' support. Hit the like button and let's talk about everyone's favorite gaming magazine. So before you get too excited because you're thinking, man, I own some Nintendo Power magazines, keep in mind that this is not free money that is just creating itself out of nowhere. If you go into your closet, you pull out your Nintendo Powers, the ones that you've read over and over and over again, guess what? They're probably not worth much. This is just like trading cards, where everyone hears about the rare Charizard sells for a lot of money, and then you have your childhood one and it looks like absolute shit. This is kind of going to be the same thing with Nintendo Power magazines, but I know there are some of you out there who are going to be able to take advantage of this new market. Now, as far as I know, CGC, the leading comic book grading company, they recently started grading video games as well. They've only been grading Nintendo Power magazines for about a year now, so the population reports on them are all very small. In fact, you can go over to the CGC website, you can look at all of the Nintendo Power magazine pop reports, and this is where we start seeing what kind of grade you need to achieve on a Nintendo Power if you want to receive a massive premium for it. If we look at the ones that have sold super strong so far, we are talking about 9.0 and above. And if we look at the census for the magazines right now, 9.0 and above, you usually have around 10 copies of any given magazine. And of course, those are the more popular ones. Those are the ones that already command a premium, even as a raw book. Those are the ones that people are sending in. And right now, like I said, you have about 10 to 15 of the really good books above 9.0 condition. Those are the ones that you want to be sending off for grading right now. Those are getting the massive premiums. Looking at all of the sales data we have so far on Heritage Auctions as well as on eBay, eBay really doesn't have a lot right now. I'm sure that's going to change in the coming future. But if we look at the data right now, you kind of want to achieve at least an 8.0. You can maybe get away with a 7.5 on some of the really good books, but you really want to try to have an 8.0 or better if you want to receive a premium for having graded your Nintendo Power magazine. And like I said, this is not just free tendies for anyone who has Nintendo Power magazine. If you send off a book that is not that popular, if you send off a book that is popular, but you get yourself a bad grade, talking 3, 4, 5, even a 6.0, these magazines will still sell for basically the cost of grading, the cost of magazine. You'll make no money. Which of course begs the question, which books are the ones that are bringing a lot of value right now? What book should you be looking for in your own collection as ones that might be worth sending off? Right now, any book that is literally new mint is going to be worth sending, is going to be worth selling. Just due to how low all the pop reports are, you'll make a massive premium if you can hit 9.2, 9.4, 9.6 on basically any book. Outside of that, you want to really focus on the books that have really good games, really popular games being advertised on the covers. Of course, they're graded magazines, so we're not going to read them, so the covers are going to be the most important aspect as to what drives the value of the book. Early magazines are also very good a lot of the time, but just because you have an NES era magazine doesn't mean that a Super Nintendo one is not going to outsell it. If you have a high-grade Super Metroid book, that is going to crush. The best books have that blend of being an early copy as well as having a great game being advertised. And even though the contents of the magazine don't necessarily matter, they absolutely do matter. If you send in a Nintendo Power to get graded, you have to have a complete book with the posters, with any other tear out inserts, whatever the hell is in that magazine has to be in that magazine when you send it off for grading. If it isn't, you will get this big, beautiful green label that will let everyone know that your magazine has an issue with it. It could be missing the poster, it could be missing scratch out cards, whatever it is, you'll get a different kind of label and your book's value will immediately go down. So if you're gonna go out hunting these, if you're gonna start searching on eBay for them, make sure to buy complete magazines. You may have to send messages to ask, make sure they're complete. So then the big question at this time, CGC 9.6, 9.4, 9.2 magazines selling for hundreds, if not thousands, do I think you should be on the buying end or the selling end right now? And if you watch my content at this point, you should know that I kind of always err to the side of caution with stuff like this. I err to the side of caution with emerging markets. So my take right now is that you should be grading your own books from your own collection, if you happen to have anything, and selling in to this new demand. Like I said, said, right now the pop reports on the book are very low. There's about 1,500 books total graded as of the recording of this video, December 2022. The number of 9s, 9.2, 9.4s is only going to go up. Obviously, in a general sense, Nintendo Power magazines are not rare. Everyone had Nintendo Power magazines. A ton of people right now have Nintendo Power in their collections. There are bound to be some people who have mint condition books in their collections. I'm pretty sure it was even possible to back order early copies of Nintendo Power at some point, so it's almost a given that there are some of these out there sitting in collections. When we talk about sealed and mint video games, the odds of people sitting on those really aren't that high, because if it's a sealed game, it defeats the whole use case. But with Nintendo Power magazines, even if you have a mint book, it's not like you had to open it at any time. You could just let the book sit there. You could open it once and close it, and you still have a mint book. So unlike sealed games, the odds of these surviving mint, while low, don't get me wrong, the whole purpose is to open the book, read the book, tear the shit out of the book. But even so, the odds of these surviving are much, much higher. These are much more along the lines of someone having a mint CIB video game surviving, which, as we know, there are a decent amount of them floating around out there. I do, however, believe that the 9.8, 9.6 level will be special even into the future. Those truly will be mint magazines. Those will not be easy to achieve. Even with Nintendo Power 1, the one that is being sent in the most, the one that currently has the most value attached to it, there are 0 9.6, there are 0 9.8. 9.4 is the highest on that magazine, and there are 6 of them across the 2 variants of Nintendo Power 1. So if you do want to make a shot at investing in Nintendo Power magazines, I really do recommend you go for the 9.2, 9.4, 9.6 level, but I also do recommend you wait a bit. You do not be the first person to be buying these. You wait a year, you wait 2 years to see how this market flushes itself out a bit, to see the amount that comes out of supply. Being the first to purchase something like this in an emerging market is always extremely risky, and it could take years for the prices being paid right now to eventually sell for more if they ever do. We've already seen it play out with graded video games. Don't get too ambitious. Do not jump into CGC Nintendo Power magazines. If you have them, I do encourage you to sell them. CGC magazines high grade, I do think will work out in the long term, but I think much better buying opportunities are going to present themselves in the next year, the next 2 years. Let me know how you feel about graded Nintendo Power magazines. Hit the like button. Hope you enjoyed today's discussion, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Hit the subscribe button. Goodbye.